2 days back, I spoke to Mr. Arun Subramanian on something started with Modi, and he asked, can you in some way also tell whether he will win in 2024? So first, let us, before I could answer this question, this set me thinking that, okay, whatever I have learned as a passion for several years, I will have to put it to test. So let us see how Modi has changed when he was a chief minister and when he became a prime minister, because this all has to be data driven. This is how he is used to sign when he was a chief minister before 2014. And this is how he started to sign when he became the prime minister. I would like you all to think in the next about say 15 minutes, what could have been the differences in his style, in his image, in his persona, what people talked about him, how he wanted to present himself when he was a chief minister, and what differences he inculcated in himself when he became a prime minister. And more important, how is this change in style can be seen from his signatures. So I would suggest that in a breakout room activity, about 15 minutes, we correlate the two changes. I will keep this screenshot. You can take a picture. Sujata Balaji, can we have this? 15 minutes max.
Sujata, your audio is muted.
Yes, Mr. Atul, I'm not enabled with the breakout room allotment.
I will now, just a minute, wait, just a minute. Sujata ma'am, I'm making you the host, co-host. So I think you can also do it. How many rooms you want, Mr. Atul?
3, sir. Sir, 3.
3, okay. I have opened 3 rooms.
Sir.
Atul, what exactly do you want us to do?
When he was a chief minister, in the tenure, he has a...
Okay, we lost you.
I think we can take a screenshot of this. This may maybe help us.
Yeah, I have taken that screenshot, definitely. Okay. Oh yeah, the second screenshot. Okay, I'll take that also. Okay,
This is what we have to work on. That's what.
Yes, yes. Got that, Sujata. Thank you so much.
Right, right.
बंद हो गया तो फटाफट आके प्लीज मदद कर देंगे प्लीज। हाँ रूम बंद हो गया इसमें। चलते चलते बंद हो गया। हमें उसके ब्रेकआउट रूम में जाओ ना, बैकआउट ज्वाइन हाउ डू आई गो टू द ब्रेकआउट रूम, जॉइन ब्रेकआउट रूम?
तो वही तो वहीं तो थे।
भाई कैसे बंद होता है?
Rahul. Hello.
Hello. Yes.
Hello. Hello. Rahul, near ho.
That's it.
யாரு?
நாச்சியாச்சி பேசுறாங்க.
ஹலோ. சொல்லுங்க ஆச்சி. மார்ச்சி. சரி 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 சரி. 9 மணி நான் ஒரு ப்ரோக்ராம்ல இருப்பேன். 9 மணிக்கு கூட சொல்லுங்க. ஆமா, நானும் பிஸி ஆளாச்சு. அவ எவ்வளவு பெரிய ஆளோ நம்மளும் அந்த மாதிரி தான். நம்ம வந்து வேர்ல்ட்ல பெஸ்ட் ட்ரெயினர் அவார்டு வாங்கியிருக்கோம். அதனால நாளைக்கு சரி எத்தனை மணிக்கு 9:30 மணிக்கா? சரி அப்ப நான் ஃப்ரீ பண்ணிக்கிறேன். சரி சரி கூப்பிட சொல்லுங்க. சரி நான் 9 மணிக்கு வச்சுக்கிறேன். நான் ரொம்ப பெரிய ஆளு, உங்களுக்கு தெரியாது, நாங்களாம் அடக்கி வாசிப்போம், ரொம்ப ரொம்ப சொல்றது இல்லை வெளியில. அதனால எனக்கு கூப்பிட சொல்லுங்க, கண்டிப்பா நான் எடுத்துக்கிறேன் போனை. சரி 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 நான் எடுத்துறேன். எனக்கு 7ல இருந்து கிளாஸ் காலையில 1:30 தான் முடியும். 9ல இருந்து 9:30 தான் எப்பவுமே 9ல இருந்து கிளாஸ் ஆரம்பிக்கும். நான் வந்து என்ன பண்றேன் 9:20 இருந்து 9:45 வச்சுக்கிறேன். 9:30 பேசும்போது நான் எடுக்கிறேன். நான் கொஞ்சம் மாத்திக்கிறேன் டைமை. சரி மாத்திக்கிறேன். இந்த கொடுக்குறேன். ஏழாம் போக சொல்லுவா, ஒரு மாசம் 7 பூசை அவங்க வீட்டுல. நம்ம வேணா போயிட்டு வரட்டும், நம்ம வந்து இதெல்லாம் வந்து பெரிய நாளைக்கு கூப்பிடுறான். நான் கிளாஸ் இருக்கு, நான் சொல்றேன். இல்ல ஒரு ஃபங்க்ஷன் வச்சிருக்காங்க, 7ஆம் தேதி பூஜை இருக்கான் வீட்டுல. சரி நான் முடிச்சா போவோம். சரி நான் என்ன பண்றேன் 9:15 நான் கிளாஸ் எப்போ 9 மணிக்கு பிரேக் விடுவேன்ல.
9 கூப்பிடுறாளா 9:30 கூப்பிடுறாளா தெரியலப்பா.
எடுத்தோன்னே எடுத்துறேன். எடுத்துருவோம்.
சொல்ல சொன்னாங்க சொல்றேன்.
டைம்ல பார்த்தா நமக்கு சரி வராது. சரி இப்ப நாளைக்கு எடுத்துருவோம். முதல் முறை அதாவது நான் ஒண்ணு சொல்லுவேன், இதெல்லாம் நான் முடியல.
Chidambaram sir, mute yourself. Chidambaram sir, mute yourself. Hello Atul Vij.
Are we back, sir?
Rajendra ji, we are which room number?
Room number 2, sir.
Okay.
This is biased. Rajendra ji, Suma ji, Arun ji, all of them in the same room.
We ganged up, Lakshmi. We ganged up.
I just realized it.
अब तो अकेले भारी हो सबको. Because you have got a lot of visual sense, Lakshmi ji.
Oh yeah. You're right, Rajendra.
He was actually.
Can we start?
हमने ये तो बताया नहीं कि एलोपैथी के, मैं सोचा कि वो मैं तो सुगम के पास चला गया.
Sujata ji, can we start?
Yes, you can. Yes, you can, Atul.
Atul ji, you better start.
अभी नीला है
He
We are
started
waiting
group
to
2.
know what happened
जगह
with
नहीं मिली
Narendra
ना।
Modi.
गाड़ी खड़ी करने की जगह नहीं मिली।
So Purnima is going to
What
present.
happened?
Yeah.
Yes, please present.
Sir, your good name, sir?
My name is Atul. Yeah, please. You're going to present on behalf of group 2.
Okay. No. I thought that the BSc solution, the person talking, I don't know his name. Can you please?
Rajendra
Yeah, that
Sapre.
is Mr. Arun Subramanian. Yeah.
Okay.
That's Mr. Subramanian.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, okay. I'll discuss on behalf of. Can you share the screen, sir? Atul, sir.
Yeah, Sujata ji, you have to enable this screen.
Yes, everyone can share the screen.
I request Anil Goswami, sir, to share that question which we had. Yes. Is this what
Yeah.
you wanted, Ms. Purnima?
Yeah, Arun sir, actually, whatever
have to
Arun
show
sir
the
and
screen where the answers
we
are.
discussed, yeah. As per our discussion in the group, Arun sir had taken this thing lead in our group. So as per he said, the first signature, it's only written N and it is curved. So it is, we feel like that, okay, the person is secretive, have defensive steps. And according to Arun sir, it was like that way. And according to me, actually, we all had the same thing. And actually, I thought there are 2 dots in the first signature. So that will be for continuity. That's what I feel. He's showing that, okay, I am to be continued. And as it happened, after he became the prime minister, he showed that he been continued as an president, as a prime minister. Then in the second signature, where it is written in Hindi, we feel that he's going upward side, but somewhere he's coming down. As in Modi, if you can see the Modi, the D is coming down towards that. So we feel that he had been going up to the top part, as you can see the mountain, but the mountain is directly dropping it down. So that is not a good sign for him, as we thought. So that's all, Arun sir.
Can I come just for a moment?
Yeah, yes.
You see, in the second signature, what I find, na is very strong. Then it is fading out. Its signatures are fading out. That means he's coming up, starting very, very strongly, but slowly, it is just fading. Thank you.
Can I add something?
Sure.
Okay, I think we also discussed that another possibility is that those 2 dots means a final verdict kind of a thing, means he doesn't want to listen to anyone, means others' opinions. Whatever he says is final. And overall, I like that the next signature, the Hindi version, because that clearly shows a very strong growth trajectory. In fact, slightly it is exponential also, not just a triangle. If you follow the contours of that Narendra on the upper side actually. Okay, and that stick kind of a thing, I don't think there is a downfall or something, but it is more of telling very strongly that he is actually having a good growth path. And Arunji also mentioned about that R part of it, which is actually showing more like an umbrella. So he wants to actually, shelter people, or actually he wants to means collaborate with people, that kind of an attitude, I think.
So I also
Another
felt
very close, very apparent thing which can be seen in the both is, in the first one, while he is secretive, defensive, and very affirming and stressing his point, the pen mark on the paper seems to be very strong. The strength of the pen mark on the paper on the second also continues, but the growth is there, and it is the distribution of the letter is very evenly spaced. I would say that this has been written by a person who is very deliberate and planned. The spacing of the letter could also mean that he is very deliberate, planned, collaborative, taking people with him. But what worries me is the absence of peaks. He is scared about expressing his power. Maybe he is masking it in some way. He's deliberately masking his power. He has become, while here in the first one, I would say was more defensive. In the second, I would say he has become more calculated. And the final E, the E ki matra of Modi, like Rajendra ji said, it could be a sign to say the buck stops here, that downward pull, which is very forceful on the paper. It could also mean that he is taking ultimate responsibility for everything, or it could also be a prediction that ultimately he is standing alone to bring him down. I don't know what graphology says about it.
In my opinion, these two dots, in these two dots seems to be, I am in full control. There is no challenge to me. So when he was a chief minister.
You are right. You are right. You can go to the next. You are exactly got it.
You're on mute, Atul.
Yeah, can we go to the next group?
Lakshmi, I'm
Echo off कीजिए वरना echo आ रहा है.
Or actually, okay.
Okay, so if it's room 3, I will share.
We can't hear you. You are muted in both of them.
Okay.
Anupji, would you want to go ahead with the our thoughts?
Lakshmi, you can please go ahead with that. Fair enough. I mean, it's just a group. I mean, it's
great. So Anupji has background of graphology. He knows it. So of course we had technical support there. But again, all of us contributed. As a chief minister, Anupji's found it a very conservative signature. Then there were inputs that are very unclear thoughts. So it seems to be clear, but there is on the face of it, when you look at it, it looks to be a very clear, sorted personality. But if you go down and see, there's nothing inside. It's the signature also doesn't mean anything. The alphabet, the way it's rolling off the letter is like an umbrella. It's really introvert, not an introvert, but an introvert. Sorry, that's a spell check. Introvert kind of a personality. So he's under a shadow kind of thing. There is ambiguity because there is nothing in the signature which is distinct, except that one umbrella kind of a thing that's coming out. Again, there's no clarity of name. You can't make out whether it is N that he signed or is it M that he's signing. So that even the letter of the alphabet is not clear. So it could be an underformed identity as a person. I don't know. 2 dots towards the end means after that, because it is just where the signature has ended. It's not below or anywhere else. So that could also mean that there's no forward movement after that. It's finished here. Then the size of the letters was too small. Could be showing underconfidence or some dual nature or something. Dual nature would not mean as a personality, but there is another, it's a hidden Modi kind of a thing. Discontinuity of letters could be unfinished tasks or unsuccessful, or there's no connection between things coming around. As a prime minister, when we look at his signature, it's a very distinct personality because of the strong impression that's going on the paper. The pressure of the hand seems to be very distinct. There's a lot of clarity in thoughts. confidence level is very high. They're slanted towards the right. So it could be a forward moving or a very futuristic kind of a person. Dominant personality, roof of the letters or the now this is not Hindi, this is Gujarati. If it's not even Gujarati, because Modi is not Modi. The spelling is wrong if it's Hindi. So whichever language this was, just looking at it, we felt the matra and everything were very distinct. But the roof of the letters was missing at places. Not all letters had the roof. There is a huge start with that huge na, and the beginning of the signature is very overpowering. The strong beginning, strong could be very persistent person, completes his task with the same tempo. But somewhere in the middle of the letter, there are a few letters like na or the ha or the ha ka matra. Everything is kind of just scribbled out there. It's not a very distinct formation. So that could be that there is a beginning, there is an end, but the middle, how it is reached. So the how to reach the goal is clear, but what is the path may not be that sorted. It is, of course, a very impressionable signature. And the last thing we felt forward, acha, this we've covered. Forward, there is somewhere there is a forward and a backward letter movement. If you look at the matra of Narendra, now that A ki matra is moving but still touching the na ka head. So there is either connectivity with his past future work, there is looping, or could be collaboration also, which I've just picked up from the other group. But I'm just guessing there. Then he's added his surname, his family name. So possibility that now he wants to be recognized and identified as a person with a family and a family, because the previous one was a very without name, without letters, not even his full name coming up. And the overall it's a diagonal, upward diagonal, which we couldn't decipher what it was.
And all the points are right, but we will again discuss it after the next group is over.
Okay.
Jeet sir, I just want to make a request that Arun sir, are you there? Arun sir?
Arun is he has to mute it.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, one good observation I think by your group is that this is Gujarati. I even didn't recognize that it was Gujarati. It is actually not
But this
Hindi.
is not
So
the
in
Gujarati
Gujarati there
that
is
we
no
seen in
upper this
Mumbai.
line.
Yeah, but this is not even Gujarati. This is
No,
not
it
even
looks
Hindi. Looks like some other language.
no, it looks like Gujarati because at least one thing is that there is
it's
no.
Gujarati. Sorry.
It's
Gujarati only, but Hindi and Gujarati is somewhat the same, and only some letters are different in Hindi and Gujarati. It's almost the same, only the upper that we do the matra, na?
That is
line,
not, the horizontal line is not there,
yeah,
no?
horizontal line we do in Hindi, in Gujarati we won't.
It is not in Gujarati.
Yeah.
And the is actually looking quite perfect actually, right? I have put in the chat actually that the is perfect actually.
Yeah, it is in Gujarati.
Great.
Can we move to the last group?
Yes, sir. We are room number 1.
Yes, please.
Yes, sir. On behalf of room number 1, I will share my screen. So I'll represent room number 1 here. So we can see both the signs as CM and PM. So what we have inferred from as a CM, Chief Minister, is it's a confined signature. We could able to read the letter as G. You can see here, we inferred that as a G. G means Gujarat. Don't know which language here. Unless and otherwise, you write it, the name on the bottom. We have written the name, he has written the name as Narendra Modi. Otherwise, you don't know who is it. And he desires to remain mysterious, desire to be seen but not known. That's what we have inferred from this signature of as a CM. Coming to the right one, which is a signature as a PM, it's an open signature, as many people are telling there is no roof, nothing. With many open ends were there, with a gradient of some slope is there on the right hand side. And the possibility of looking beyond boundaries can be seen from here. We infer that the signature is in Hindi without that roof. We have not thought about Gujarati. Okay, the sign is well drafted with patience because people were telling no. In between, there are certain areas where he is leaving gaps. So it means the sign is drafted with patience. And here we can see both his name and the family name, both are written. So we feel that this is also very nice with respect to the things. And your third question was, what was the correlation between the two or the two changes? We got a very good input that the mind, body, and soul are all connected in line with respect to this signature as a prime minister. And the first question, coming to the first question, we inferred that as a CM, it is having a less clarity in leading because that is a noticeable style change. As a PM, he had a very clear vision, and as Arunji was telling, he knows where to pass and where to take the nation to the next stage. So this is our side from room number 1, sir. Thank you.
Excellent, sir. Can I get the sharing? So these points we have all mentioned very clearly. So what we are trying to say is, it's not that I'm trying to promote that Modi is very good, that we will all define as in our own perspective. When we put in our signatures are our portrayed personality. Handwriting is our true self. So when we talk about I will show the writing on the next page. When we are writing,
sir, are you sharing your screen, sir? Because we are unable to see your screen, sir.
I had shown my screen. Just a second.
Others have to answer. I couldn't see the screen.
No, it's not shared.
Not visible. No problem. He will share it.
Actually, there are two devices.
Yes, yes, please.
Is it sharing now?
No, sir. No, sir.
No. As of now, no, sir.
You can from other device, maybe.
So
yeah.
Now it is
now it is okay, sir. Now we could see.
Sharing from the other side.
Now we could see your screen, sir.
So what is more important here is, when we are putting in our signature, that is our portrait personality. One big thing we have noticed was when he became prime minister, he started something called Man Ki Baat. I do not even remember how many sequels have been there, but he became communicative. When all of you have rightly observed, when he signed his signature with the encircled, he was actually putting a shield. He was not even giving complete letters of his name, except the first name or first letter of the second name. So he had desire to be seen, like someone of said, a desire to be seen but not known. He does not want that certain things of his own self be known to the world, but he is a very forceful leader. If you see the pressure which he is writing, when he comes down, he forcibly, the pressure increases at the end. He puts in a full stop. A full stop is that this is my last word, that, okay, you are following me. So he is a very strong, I won't say arrogant, but a very aggressive leader as a CM. When he moves over to prime minister, then he realizes that perhaps certain things have to be changed. What followed, what I do not know, but the signatures are very clear. In the second case, one big thing which all of you have noticed, forget the language. The first letter of the alphabet is bigger than the last letter of the signature. When it is a tapering sort of a thing, the diplomacy has improved. So he is much better a diplomat now as a prime minister than when he was as a chief minister. Second thing which you have also noticed is about, I think Arunji was saying, the downward stroke in Narendra and in Di In Narendra and in Modi, there is nothing called a understroke. Like we have got in English, we have got a downward stroke. Downward stroke in our like in our body, middle zone, upper zone, and lower zone. Lower zone represents our being grounded, sort of being grounded. He is much more grounded in the second signature than he was in the first one. He has, even if it was not there, he has, you see the Modi, he takes it down to the end. He does not want anything extra to be there. He is just focused on the basics. He does not want to talk anything extra. So he has become much more focused. The pressure still sustains. When he was writing, when he wrote the circle, whenever he was ending, the pressure was higher. Similarly, in Narendra, the pressure is more. In Modi, the pressure is more. The letter R, in Hindi also, you can see some sort of a creativity thing is there. When we come to English, there also, I will explain that. So the size of signature, if you see the size of signature compared to reality word, the size of signature, he is now portraying a bigger than reality image. Now someone had said, I think Purnim or someone had said that his dress up has improved. Now he feels that he is representing a country, so he wants to be there in a better getup. But if you look into his handwriting now, I'll have to, you see the handwriting. It is so balanced. It is the same letter where I showed in the signature. This was done when he had gone to White House, the left side. Letter is, the alphabets are so clear, the signatures are bigger. Now, the second thing which I'm saying in terms of changes happening. In the first letter, which was done in 2014, and the second letter, which has been done in 2015. First letter is when he visited the White House. Second was when he visited Seychelles. When he visited Seychelles, you can see there is a distinct difference. In the first letter, the right margin is less. In second letter, the right margin is more or less not there. So before CM to PM, he changed. PM between the first year to second year to third year, again he is changing. Basic formation is not changing, but the way he is relating to the environment, that is changing a lot. Right, left margin represents something like our past. Right represents something like our future. He is trying to grapple the future. He had, in those days, if you remember, he had started to go out very often. He was literally, you could say that he is always in the plane. But he was still trying to find himself what India can be portrayed in the future. So the right margin was still very wide. And it was narrowing as he came down to signatures. He is more or less in his grasp. But by the time passed and next year, you see the right margin, he has gone to the end. He is taking future by the hilt, by the sword, whatever. He is very confident that, okay, whatever comes, I am ready to face it. So if you see the three transitions, there is a leader which comes out that who is evolving. In the second one, if you see, the baseline, in this first letter, the baseline is exactly straight. In the second line, the baseline is wavy. If you would have been reading papers, I think I've been reading this since several years. It was there in the newspapers when this letter was given in Seychelles that now the Prime Minister is feeling tired. Because the wavy baseline indicates that he is in the middle, he is losing his steam and then trying to come up. So if you see, he has taken so much on himself that within 1 year, he has still come to the grasp, although in terms of the energy level, something has come. So the 4 or 5 things which we have learned is the size. We have also seen the slant. One of us said the signature is vertical, whereas in the first small signature, it was slightly right. A vertical signature implies that we have got our brain and heart, brain rules. A very slight right signature, a right slant, if you see in Modi, the line, that is, okay, heart is not slave to the, brain is not slave to the heart, it will still listen, the connection is still there. But he will not go with his emotions. He will not lose control on what he has to say. He would still be very diplomatic. So I'll come to the next slide.
Can you repeat the point about this heart and brain? What indicates what?
Our body, handwriting body is exactly like our body. Our legs are wherever we grounded. The head is the top zone. If you see this handwriting which I have displayed, if you see the word please, EASE is the middle zone, isn't it? And if you see THE, the T and H also go into the upper zone, and G goes into the lower zone. The central part is our heart part. The lower part is our physical groundedness part, and the top part is our mind, our cognitive part. So the slant of the handwriting says that if assume you're holding your horse by the reins. If you let it go loose, then the horse is in control. It is going the way he wants to go. If you're holding the horse back by the reins, it is pulled back, and that is where the brain is controlling the heart. But here, when it is just a slight slant, the horse is also running, but the controllers are also there. He will not lose control on what he's saying. So I'm just using celebrities' name here so that we can understand this. Nothing to go in favor or against any of these people I'm saying. Now, if you look into this signature, we have got the signatures here also, and we have got the handwriting here also. What are the other parameters of handwriting which you can see? We are just trying to understand in the implicit way, how can we analyze handwriting? Certain things here you like to see that the I which is written here, all of us have done studies, the copybook style. This is not the way we learn. You see, if you are to see I, the lower bar has got a curve in it. If you see the very and good, the slant of the lower zone is slightly even more tilted. The T bar is very lightly crossed and also on the lower side.
Which
is the T bar? If you see when he writes visit, write the visit in T, the cross bar of T is on lower. If you see the second line DIV Institute, in Institute there are 3 T's. He is crossing each one of them separately.
Right. Okay.
Okay. Similarly, when you see best wishes, the T is on the left side. It is left of the bar.
Okay.
It is not crossing through. If you see his signatures, Rahul is clear, but Gandhi has been clipped. And certain letters are not even visible there. So between the handwriting and the signature, you can see there is a difference coming in. So as we progress, I will show more things.
Mr. Atul, one small observation. Can you just explain what that means?
Yes, sir.
You see, in this Rahul Gandhi, if you see that, the top is aligned straight. You know, it is touching the line and it is equal. But the bottom is inclined upwards. That means as it goes, it is becoming a funnel sort of a thing. Can you just go back?
Yes, sir.
To Rahul Gandhi's signature.
Yes, sir. Sorry, sir. Today my laptop is not working. I am on some other device. So
slide number 2. Can you give right to some other one?
The 7. Slide number 7.
Yes.
The slide number I know.
Atul, can I present it on your behalf?
Yes, that is better.
Yeah, you can present on my behalf, but then I will not be able to write on the screen.
Okay.
I am going to write also on the screen.
Atul, so you can write by using the annotation on the screen. You will be able to write.
Okay.
Your annotation comes when you are sharing the screen.
I've seen it. I've seen it.
Also right on the top.
Okay. So you can see the screen now, page number 7.
Yes.
Just
go to full screen mode. We can
I'm going
see
to full
the
screen.
slides
Yes,
also.
I'm going. Yes, yes.
Slide mode.
Yeah.
Make it full. Yeah. Now it is okay.
Yeah.
So in this, the patterns which we need to observe are the slant, the I, the lower bar of the capital I, the slant of the lower zone, the crossbar, the spacing between the words, and even wider spacing in Rahul Gandhi. Some letters are disconnected, the sign is illegible, and the surname is half done. So it is very clear that a transition happens. If we are to talk about a leader who is evolving, is he growing or is he there where he was? So for the interest, I will just explain what this means. We will be covering these in greater detail. A slant which is forward, that means this person would be losing control over what he has to say. He will be very impulsive in sharing what he has to. He would not listen to others. The lower I bar, he has had problem with his father. The slant, the Y and the G, if you see the lower slant, that is he is not able to take decisions himself. He has to fall back to his, or that is the earth, the grounding sign. The grounding sign is represented by his mother. For that, he is pulled by his mother. He is not able to take an independent stand. His enthusiasm level by his institute, etc., the way he has written, his enthusiasm level is less. He may give a commitment because he is very impulsive. He will just speak on the fly. He will not go by his commitments. Given a chance, he would still maintain distance with the public. And the worst part in this part, which is coming out, is he would not like others to come out with their ideas in front of him. Now, with that, I'll come back to the previous page. If you see this signature, this handwriting, you see the balance, the baseline, if it is very straight, the person is very reliable. In whatever may happen, this person will not let go of you. The left margin, which is very even, is that he is very balanced. He observes and respects the rules of the culture of that land. His I, if you see, is perfectly personal pronoun I is very balanced. There is no disconnection. There is no extra curve. There are no initial strokes to letters. If you see the fourth last letter, I look forward. There is no initial stroke. He is to the point. He does not say anything more, anything less. He weighs it to the situation and then goes on like that. So we have started to understand what handwriting reveals. We are not discussing these two persona, but I'm just trying to say that this is what handwriting reveals. So with this, I start graphology. There are close to 5,000 different personality traits. And it is said that about 1 in 68 million may be the chances that a handwriting may be duplicate. Let's do Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs, before I talk about his details, I would like to say that what his colleague said, most mere mortals cannot understand a person like Jobs. We will remember signatures of Modi and Steve Jobs. We will be doing for someone else whom we know very well, all of us may know very well, and then see how it applies there also. The first alphabet is a small case thing. That is, despite his larger than life presence, he is very modest. But the way you see when he writes Steve, S starts from the baseline, below the baseline. Like I said, grounding. He is very, very forceful, very, very arrogant in the sense that this has to be done. I want it to be done this way. If you see the N in Steve towards the end, he wants it to be done now. Do not waste any time. If you see the T bar, the crossbar, it is going with full flow. If you see the J, there is an angular part to that. And if you see the S again goes again to the top. Wherever he goes, he makes his presence felt.
Atulji, a slight question in this point. If we make our handwriting like this, will our behavior also get more productive or time bound?
See, all of us can't become like a Dara Singh, no? But we cannot go to gym. Second, more important is detoxification of ourselves. Once we understand what are the patterns in our own selves which pull us down, then maybe we will become a better person ourselves first. Then we can talk about benchmarking our role model.
Okay, Ji, thank you.
Okay, there is nothing bad or there is no perfect handwriting. Everyone has got certain thing good and certain thing bad. And I had done someone's handwriting. He was a very, very senior person. He would not agree that his points which were negative were negative. It was delays decision. He says it is good to delay decisions. There were certain points for each of those points. He says, I am so such and such age, and this is the number of crores of turnover. He says, this is what has brought me here. So once somebody who is representing a behavior, maybe he does not feel it that way. But when you take a third person view, when you see your own blind spot that it is coming out like this, then maybe you will start thinking. The first step to change happens with awareness. So what I am trying to do here is I am trying to bring out the points in handwriting, how the changes can happen. So the subconscious, which drives our behavior, and the way we write our handwriting, they are all connected. That is why in graphology, this is actually called brain writing. It is like a two-way switch. Suppose I want to see a current rating. I can see emitter, I can see voltage in amperes, I can see the voltage. They just give the reading. So this handwriting is actually giving a reading of what is going on inside the brain. So this is a replica of whatever is happening in the brain. If you are angry, the handwriting will show that. If you are depressed in that moment, your handwriting will show that. If you are depressed, your last letter of this sentence will start drooping down. Certain such things. Well, if you are angry, the pressure will perhaps increase. The way you put in your crossbars on teeth, they will become sharp. But what is more important in this is, all the way we have seen meters are giving true reading of the equipment. But in this, when you do more and more handwriting, when you start practicing writing more and more, your brain neurons are always keeping in their good health. And second, if you change your handwriting like a two-way switch, you can change the pattern. So this is the correlation. Handwriting, what we understood, slope. Slope, if it is upwards, it is optimistic. If it is downward, it is pessimistic. If it is wavy, that means the person is not reliable. This slant, the way I explained, like a horse being driven. If you pull the reins back too hard, it is too much in control. If you let it go loose, you are too impulsive. The
Slope is actually the baseline.
Slope is the baseline slope.
Okay, thank you.
Slant is of the letter. Spacing is between the words, between the letters, and between the sentences. When we do the samples, I will explain about this. Spacing relates to how much close we are to our own, what is my relation with my own self. If it is widely spaced out, then I am better. If it is too cluttered, then my thoughts are also like that. The way I speak to my friends is the spacing between the words. And the way I see the thoughts, the clarity, that is the spacing between the lines. If you would have seen Modi's handwriting, the linings were very clearly separated out. It is not a muddlehead signature handwriting. He has got a very clear-cut thought process. The pressure. Higher the pressure, more energy levels you have. More emotions you will have. Lesser the pressure, lesser emotion you will have. Now, suppose I have to say that there are two possible convicts who have committed a murder. The person who's got high level of energy would be writing in heavy pressure. The person with less energy and less emotions would be writing in less pressure. Both the things could be right. But in your opinion, who could be the murderer? Any one of you can answer. I can give answers both ways. Sapraji, since you were talking, would you like to give an answer on behalf of all of us?
I think it all depends upon how the person has actually looked at it. But most probably, see, suppose if the person is not a victim, then he will feel more stressed that something he has not done, he is actually punished for. Whereas certain people who are actually, what you can say, more of a criminal by nature, maybe despite doing the murder, it will be like not so much emotion for that person. It is routine for that person.
I will reword the question. A person who is very emotional, he would actually go and commit the murder.
Oh.
Because he is
Sir,
driven by his desires. One can say the other way around also. Hanji, yes, please go ahead.
Yeah, the heavy pressure, what the logic, I think that the heavy pressure are a little bit dominating also because they are writing with the pressure and they have that feelings.
Heavy
so
pressure.
Maybe, so maybe they can.
Is that Kanakaji?
No, Purnima here.
Purnima ji, there is not one parameter which decides. Suppose you want to know the weather of a place, one parameter will not tell you everything.
Yeah.
So these all things have to be actually correlated. So what we are trying to do by the end of this session is we will correlate several things and then we will present. A pressure indicates higher pressure, indicates your energy level, indicates your bonding strength of bonding with your friends. Suppose you write with pressure and you meet someone about say 20 years old in your school, you will meet with the same emotion. The person writing with less pressure, he will say, okay, out of sight, out of mind. When you meet again, then we'll talk. So there are several things which relate. This will also go relate with what is the slope, or what is the slant of the alphabets. If it is forward and it is pressure, then you will be closer. If the handwriting is bigger in size and the T is crossed through, then the dominant thing will come in. So several things will come in. I said 5,000 traits are patterns available. There are so many of them. So one thing cannot decide everything. So it's sometimes very difficult to decipher on a small sample also. Margins we have already discussed. Zones we have discussed partly. Signature size we have discussed. And now we will also come later to letters and connections. So my thought process was, if our subconscious is driven by the way we think, the way we think is also driving the way we write. Is there a connection between what my goals are, what my desires are, what my beliefs are, whether my past is driving me, whether I'm living by fears, or am I living by my ambition, or am I ridden down by my complexes? Am I living my own self, or I'm impersonating an image? All the answers to this will come from your handwriting. So let's solve this together. So I'll see if I can annotate on this. Now, if you come to the, now we are coming to the letters part. As I said, if we are writing a simple letter like O, and O can be written like a circle. But if we are putting in too much of effort, one loop, then the second loop, then the third loop, that means brain is putting in so much of more exercise. Similarly, the way we write our P, a P is normally driven, we will retrace it and form a P. But there is if you see, there is a valley being created, a V being formed inside. Similarly, the way we have been taught in school that the I's and J's have to be dotted perfectly. We have also been taught that the G's and Y's, the loop should go back. So each of these traits indicate certain things. Just as like a peak, I will just tell you, a person who lies very well, first of all, learns how to lie to himself. Because unless he cannot lie to himself, he would not be able to project it truthfully to the other person. And a person who puts in a double loop and that double loop also entangles, this person would be habitual liar. So if you're talking to someone and you find this trait is there, please avoid that. If you are having this trait, then you would be lying to yourself also. I have to get up tomorrow, I have to do this task, then you will be fooling your own self. Oh, because of this reason, I will not be able to do. So lying is equally dangerous to yourself and to the other person. So such traits we should avoid. If a letter P or a letter T or a letter D, any split is coming like this, it is like emotionally, we are pulling the two like a bamboo. If you tear it from the middle, there is a lot of valley which is being created. So this indicates stubbornness. If we forget to dot our I's and J's, that indicates we are not bothered about the nitty-gritties. If instead in the lower zone, G instead of up and down, we are afraid of taking higher responsibilities and we are afraid of failing. If this happens, oh, then my responsibilities will increase. And this will happen, oh my, this will also increase. I would rather stay where I am. So when we start our session, that the biggest goal for this, when we start every session of Arunji, he says, have your goals which are much more higher, even if the clarity is less. This line gives in a peep that actually, are we ready for that? Because sometimes you might be trying to do whatever we are doing daily. Let me live that only. So each of the letters has got something to say. We will not be able to cover all the letters, but this is just to inspire some interest in all of you. That letter R shows creativity. We will do some sample analysis of some of our colleagues and then we'll see how each of these come in. Similarly, sometimes we feel that when we are criticizing in teams, some people take it very well, some people don't take it. If you see the loop of T and D, this indicates that we are very sensitive. A normal T will be retraced a very narrow loop. T is ideas. Similarly, H is ideas. But the loop, if it is big, I will not be able to tolerate any criticism for my ideas. And when it comes to D, I am very much bothered about my looks. Anyone, oh, he will say this about me, I am not looking good today, or this is my getting wrinkles and all those things. So this person will be having a paranoia about their looks. So such things we should try to avoid. So this is what when Akash was saying, this is a detoxification of our own self. Once we understand these parts, we should take care of these. So K, if you just imagine a person who is holding his arms out, that is K. If the arms are touching the stem, that means the person is balanced, he's balanced, romantic, everything in a very normal tone. But if it is not connected, that means he is just show off. He will be perhaps hugging and kissing you, but there is no emotion involved. If there is a loop getting formed, then he is hiding some of his affairs somewhere. Similarly, in F, F is my planning ability. I'm not sure whether I can write here, but I will just see. If I write my F like this, there is an upper one and lower one. Upper parts indicates planning, lower parts indicate doing. Some people do like this. Very good planners, but not good doers. Some people do like this. Planning very good, not good, but doer, excellent doer. So we need in a factory, we need all sorts of people. So when we are interviewing people, we will have to see all these things. Similarly, when we write E, this is the heart, this is my thought process, and this is my materialistic pleasure and sensual pleasures. All three need to be balanced. Sometimes you might find somebody like writing like this. There is some sort of a aversion towards physical sensual issues. If this is missing, the person is not connected to the heart. He has got lots of turmoil inside. If this is not connected at all, he is giving ideas just out of the cuff and not actually meaning to implement them. So he has to be very clear that if I want to implement, the three have to be connected. So this similar, when we do more analysis, I will share these examples. Since we did some exercise, we will have to curtail on the discussions in this.
Atul, just a
Yeah.
quick question over here. The small e, what does the small e indicate?
Small e, Tasneemji, thanks for asking this. Small e, what does it remind you of? Does it smile you of ears in my body? Our ears, hamare kaan.
Yes.
If you have got E which has got no I in it, that person is not a good listener. A person who is a good listener, he will have E with a very clear-cut I in it. That part which you see, which you can, if you have to press, take a thread through that, you could have taken through this E. If you cannot, the person is not a good listener. Sometimes in one alpha word, there will be two E's coming in. Suppose I write about desire. First E and the second E. The second E is what the others feel, and first E is what I'm actually am. So as and when we get senior, sometimes we are so much lost in ourselves that let people hear what I have to say. I am not listening what they are going to say. So this becomes very important.
Atul sir, can I ask a question?
Hanji, please.
Atul sir, like I used to make E like a opposite 3. Okay, so it's like a rounded half circles, 2 half circles. Does that also mean something?
No, capital E, when you write it, it is some sort of, sometimes our family has got too much of our cultural influences there. We must too much fascinated, or when we have grown up, our family has spent a lot of emphasis on that. So that shows there. A small E typically is written like this only. Small E is not written the way you are saying. That is a capital E which is written typically.
Yeah, capital E only I was asking. Yeah.
Yes, capital E, that is typical in some families. You find that nowadays perhaps this is going down, sort of like a not most of that when it's not visible, but it's very visible in certain families.
Thank you.
So I will just recap some things we may not have discussed. I will just share them. A stubbornness in P, if there is a like a bamboo pole, if it is split, if it is coming in P, that means the person cannot tolerate criticism. A person, if a split is coming in T, they again cannot take criticism to their ideas. If it is coming in P, they are so stubborn. Suppose you have to make them run for 10 hours, they will run for 10 hours, they will not stop. Gandhiji wrote P like that. That is why he did the Dandi March. So all persons engaged in sports, etc., write a P like a stubborn P, that okay, I have to achieve this mark. People who are in their thought process, who have got very, very mature thoughts, sometimes may also feel that okay, I don't need to listen to anyone else. When we talk about temper, someone is talking, can you please mute? When it comes to temper, temper, if this is the T, my T will be crossed here. Instead of going through and through, if a T is put on the right side, that indicates that you are liable to lose your temper very often. So if this is there in you, you please ensure that the T bar should be through T. If the T bar is on the left, that means you will be procrastinating. Left indicates past tense, right indicates future. When you're in too much of a rush, I wanted it this way, then you will be losing your temper. And irritation also shows in when we write our I dashes like this. A jealousy shows in, jealousy is again coming from past. So this will show like this. Suppose I'm writing a H like this. Any curve from in the past. Jealousy is your sadness, your frustration, everything coming in here. So any sort of embellishments which come like this, they have not been taught to us. We should try to take them off. A victim of abuse, this dominating is again, suppose I want to, a T bar, I'm putting like this, like a club, I'm trying to dominate. Suppose I try to take a T in which is thicker here, and when it goes, it becomes very narrow head, like a sword. That is, I'm becoming domineering. I cannot tolerate other person. Victims or abuser who will, whenever I have to put in a dot, suppose even I have to put a bullet, I will just do overwrite like this. Persons operating from the past, their left margins would be very narrow. Persons afraid from the future, their right margin would be very wide. So this is something on the character. I do not know how to erase it. Just a second, I'll just type.
Atul,
yeah.
Clear it.
Yes. So we have discussed so far our fear of success when the G and Y are getting low. We have also discussed our fear of failure. When the fear of failure is when the T bar, we are crossing very low. If you remember Rahul Gandhi's signature, the T bars were crossed low. Fear of criticism, when I explained the T and D to you. Fear of disrespect is, suppose my alphabet T and D are written 3 sides. Suppose if you see this part, the D part, this is more or less 1:1. But if this D part, if this was to become, sorry, if this D was to become like a taller, 3 times the height of the middle zone, that means a fear of disrespect comes in. If you see signatures of Modi, the middle zone is narrow, is small, the upper and lower zone are bigger. As and when you see people who are very, very hardworking and become very senior, they will typically tend to become like that. And they would always be dissatisfied that with the current, I want more results. I want even more and more results. But they would like the people should go along with me that, okay, this has to be done, this has to be done. Please follow, respect what I'm saying. So it's not that a shallow disrespect is there, but they will feel like people to follow them.
Dil mange more.
हाँ जी, उनका दिल, हाँ जी, yes, दिल मांगे more. In 1985 or something, I started my handwriting analysis study in 1982. In 1985, this serial came Street Hawk. I liked the dialogue very well there. The Street Hawk was designed by one of the scientists, and he gave this to this guy, who was more or less like a policeman. And he was always afraid that this guy would run the machine in such a manner that he had not even designed. This gave me an idea that if these are the kind of tools I have learned for myself, can I get more out of myself? Like what Akash said, do I have to model others, or first can I take off whatever is unnecessary in me? Can I get more of the vehicle which God has already given to me by detoxification? So with this, I will start to the next topic of how to use this as a graphotherapy. How can I use to change the brain program, like we have already been discussing. Suppose we were to hire for HR. Suppose we were to go for interview. Suppose we were to go and conduct a session. These things will become very important. Our confidence, our zeal for responsibility. I may not be able to get into each of the parameters here, but each of these parameters reflect in our handwriting. And most important is the second last. Are we a learner? Do we make mistakes? It is okay, but do we learn from mistakes? Here we have to all remember that when we write suppose we write our G like this, it should always come to the middle zone back. We say in Hindi, isne baat dil pe laga di. This mistake has gone to the heart. But if we write our G or Y, they do not stop here or stop here or stop here. That means the learning has not happened. Please ensure that when you write any lower zone, G, Y, J, whatever, they have to come back to the middle zone. That means your brain and your experiences are learning. So if I have to ask you for a recap, if someone is really bothered about their looks, what would their handwriting show? Which letter will you look for? A lady who is really bothered about her waistline, what
D.
letter would you look for?
D.
D. Okay. And if you want someone who is really interested in sports, what letter would you look for?
P.
T. As I said, T is T. Yeah. So, and second, in terms of determination, if somebody is really determined that they have to take care, you will look for the crossbar of T. The crossbar of T has to be balanced. And if it is a good pressure, your effort, whatever you want to do, you will put in your full enthusiasm. If you remember when we had seen Narendra Modi's the handwriting, the T bar was there. And then when I mentioned about Rahul Gandhi, I said the T bar was very small. Whatever ambitions you want needs lots of energy. Okay. In this, if this person is carrying some hurt from the past, what are the handwriting? What alphabets would I look at? What patterns would I look into the handwriting? Any guesses? If you remember, I said that left side is past.
The
left margin.
will be left side, so it will be.
Okay, I said left margin. Your left margin, if you see, would be very narrow. The way we have, suppose this is the margin is about 1 inch. That margin, if you see this, the carrying from the left margin is, suppose it is 1 inch. We would be writing a very narrow left margin. We would not be respecting the left margin. And when I explained certain letters, that most of the letters, if I'm writing the left side of that, if it is filled up with loops, that means we are carrying some problems from our past tense. Any unnecessary loop on the left-hand side of the letter indicate that there is something from the past. So if we are carrying some hurt from the past and that past is driving us, we have to detoxify that. Suppose I am having a problem with my parents. Can I find that myself and can I do something about it? I mentioned in Rahul Gandhi's signature this point, if someone can recall.
The surname was half.
Influence of the
Yes,
mother.
yes. Yeah, there were 3 things I said in his signature. The surname, if the surname is smaller in size, that means you are not feeling as a part of your family. You do not want to draw even recognition or affiliation to that surname. But suppose you're not going along with your father. If you remember his I, the lower part of that I had a loop. The lower bar of Rahul Gandhi's signature had a loop in it. I will draw again. Suppose this is I, this is the top bar, and this is the bottom bar. In case of Modi, I said they are all perfectly balanced.
He was having the not
In
type of
this
eye.
case, he had like this.
Okay.
Suppose I have a I like this. This is my mother. Top I part is represents my mother, and bottom bar part presents my father. So if there is any anything which is like this on top or bottom reflects my reflection there. Suppose I'm reflecting like this, that means this is an umbrella. This is a sort of a cover I'm giving to my umbrella. I'm very fond of my mother. And I would like her to learn more and more. I would like to be her support. But if suppose the line is crossing this, that means I'm not going well with my father. So if I'm talking about peace with your parents, even our children, whether getting these things, we have to be we should get cautious that, okay, there is something in us that they don't like. Problem may be with us also, maybe with the children also, but most of the cases, there is a problem both sides. And there could be several other things. Will someone cheat on me? Do I finish my savings before the salary comes? Do I follow my rules? Like in the case of F in point number 4, I said, am I a planner or a doer? So again, doing one more aspect here. This is a signature of Bhagat Singh. If you notice here, his T and S are joined. Such sort of a person is intellectually very, very, very strong. If you see his G, there are 2 Gs. If you remember when Tasneem ji was asking about E, I said if there are 2 alphabets of same alphabets, the last alphabet represents what is seen to the public, and the first one is what you truly are. My lower zone, if you remember, I had said that is something, it should come back to the middle zone, and there should be a healthy loop in it. That is a bag of trust. In the second one, this is also my materialistic and my sensual issues. As far as the world was concerned, Bhagat Singh was close to all these things. He did not have any craving for any of such physically or earthly things. But inside, he had a very strong physique and he was very strong. If you see his A's, they are perfectly knotted. If you see G, there is no gap. The Britishers tried to get all the details from him. They could not take any single secret out of him. He was so tight-mouthed. So these things, depending on the situation, in his case, suited him. Whereas in some other situation, a same thing may not be okay. So these are the kind of things which we have in the short interval done: margins, baseline, the spacing, the pressure, size, slant, the connection between the letters, some individual letters, and signature. So with all these tools, what I would think myself is, we have to renew the way we were looking at ourselves. Rather than saying that this always happens to me, I have to detoxify my past. If I'm thinking that this success will be difficult to handle, I have to analyze that and actually get ready for handling that. If I'm having some relationship issue with my wife or with my friends or with my boss, I have to see whether my eye is okay, or whether there is something in their nature which I have to take it for granted that they are like this. They typically lose their anger, but their anger will immediately that will die down. So we should start living by use of these tools. There's so many of these tools. Whatever tools come to us, we should use it. So now this is our favorite Mr. Rajendra Sapre. What does his handwriting show? So Sapreji was saying, no, whether others and signatures will get analyzed or not. Someone heard it. So Sapreji, I will not ask you, what do you make out of this handwriting? And I have already taken Mr. Sapre's permission. Sapreji, is that okay?
Yeah, it is okay.
So what do you make out from the signature size? Size is smaller. Handwriting is bigger. A person who portrays a larger than life signature, like in the case of, I said, Narendra Modi, as a head of the country, he take care of dress up, etc., etc. In your case, Mr. Sapre comes out very modest. Second thing you would have noticed about Mr. Sapre is, whenever you see his picture, I will not know the percentage, but I think majority times he's laughing, he is not serious. What in this handwriting can explain to you that why he is like this? And if we have to model him for this, what are the things we need to follow? Akashji, modeling from Rajendra Sapre.
Is it a question?
Yes. What we are trying to revise now, we are trying to practice on the handwriting, real handwriting we are practicing.
Yeah.
So what is it this? Yeah.
It is fairly legible, fairly, the lettering is not too artistic, to the point, instructional, I would say. But
So
honestly,
in terms of anybody
terms,
who does
I
not put
don't
in any loops, Akash, anybody who does not put in any loops, restricts to the basics, his mind is occupied in doing something value added only. So he will be able to leverage his mind, his brain much more than others can. Second, if you forget the line written by notes by Rajendra Sapre, which was written later, you can see his left margin at the top is narrow, at the bottom it is increasing. He is gradually, his botheration about past is losing. He says, okay, this was perhaps relevant yesterday, now it is not relevant, let me live my life today. Since he is not carrying so much of baggage from the past, he can be happy. If we are bothered about our past, this someone happened, this someone told me, then I will be living in that feelings, and that feelings will always put pressure on myself.
So he is not vindictive, you mean?
Sir, vindictive to hai hi nahi hai, but vindictive does not come from this.
Yes, he is
vindictive comes from T bar. I have not talked about his T bar essay.
good qualities I need to look at.
Yes, and you see his third last, what do you see? Emotions. You see his through, you see his word bound. His O has got no loop in it. He writes his O like a circle. He does not hide anything to others. What he has inside, he has inside, but he is not containing his emotions. He is not faking anything. So
He's
he would
clear
not lie.
about what he says.
So if the person is so clear-hearted, he will also be happy.
Atulji, what about there are two more distinct letters, F and E?
Yes, you see his F. हाँ जी, F बताओ कहाँ पर इसका F? इसका F में ऊपर का लूप लिखता है.
Execution is not there.
Second line, last character.
F execution is not there. I think.
It's not that execution is not there. He will give ideas to the team and he will ensure the team performs. But he will not do a balancing that I'm a doer also and have a planner also. He is a very, very strong planner. He will change the complete design of the organization. And others will have to execute what he is saying.
And what about the underline, sir?
Sir, underline of signature, this is something which I was not able to make out. Whether he has put in E and then drawn from right to left or left, or separately this line below, is it drawn left to right or right to left?
Right to left. It is all continuous. I don't anytime lift my
so
finger.
This is your self-sabotage behavior.
Self-sabotage.
Self-sabotage. You yourself sometimes sabotage your success. So it should have been from left to right, from past to future. That is why I did not comment, because I thought first I will ask you, then I will say. So this is something which you can change, and does not mean that you have to go to the bank and change it. You start practicing, and whenever you put in your name in other places other than check and financial documents, you please start putting in line from left to right.
Oh, is it? Okay, good.
Okay. Should I go to the next?
Yeah.
Our Balaji. See, these are the person who volunteer in all our classes, so they get the preference. Because they take the notes, they share the notes with me. I'm using liberty to share their handwriting.
Sir, our number can we come?
So, as I said, today the time is less. So today we have got very few samples. We will do one more sample after.
Okay, sir. Okay.
If you see Bala's handwriting, Bala is in a factory. He has to ensure that whatever has been decided has to get done. His clarity of rules, his respect for the rules has to be perfect. How do you see that?
Left. Yeah, left. He's left so much gap there, and it is all uniform.
His
like
left margin, he is actually following that red line. And when he has put in the bullet points are also in the same vertical line. If you see his F's, the fourth last, content deficiencies, process deficiencies, you see the doer loop. He will ensure that whatever has been decided and discussed in the management meetings will ensure that shop floor deploys it. Balaji, sorry, your appraisal has been done.
Even T is balanced, right? The T.
Yes.
All the T's are high.
His T is also balanced. Yes, T is also balanced.
Very methodical.
Very methodical. No, he also loses control because he has to deal with shop floor. Sometimes he would also be losing control. He would be losing anger also.
So his family must be very happy, this man.
Sir, you see the reason of happiness. He has got no unnecessary loops. His O's, etc. have got no extra loops. So he is a very simple, plain person. So somebody who is very clean inside will also have a nice sleep. Na? So this is what I meant by detoxification. Once we identify any such things, we have to ensure that they are not there. So now we will go to Arunji. We will not take a breakout room. We will all do together. Remember, whatever we have said about Bhagat Singh, about Modi and Steve Jobs, you will find reflection of all three of them in Arunji's handwriting. Please go start now. What do you make out from his signatures? Arunji, with permission, sir, can we discuss? I have actually taken permission.
Do I have a choice?
Sir, I have already taken permission from you, sir.
Yeah, go ahead, crucify me.
No, sir. The first point is.
Okay, go ahead. I was just joking. Come on.
Yes.
I would also love to know myself, huh?
Yes, sir.
The signature past to future. He's done it very well. I don't know. It's clearly the way the pen has gone. It seems he's gone from past to future.
Yes. What about the size of the signatures?
Also, the letter A. It is big.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that talks about the person's personality, right?
Yes. The first letter, if it is big, and this last letter, we will have to take classes on diplomacy also from Arunji and how to get things done. Second, you comment on his R. I had mentioned this when I talked about Narendra Modi. And when you see his N, I talked about this N when I talked about Steve Jobs signatures.
Confidence, high level.
The confidence nahi tha, ye kuch aur point tha. People who have been working with him, who have given presentations and worked with him, they will know very well. You see the first word, a line, different, difficult. Graphology must be a difficult science. If you see double F there, you see the planning ability there and also the doer, but planning is so predominant. You see his T bars, Graphology must. You see the T bar has a split in it. So you have to say, if I repeating that, then your exercise, your implicit learning is not happening. If you find this signature different, then I will put in this handwriting. You can see this. He is one person who is working day and night. At some stage, his Fs would have been different. But now he is designing his own courses. He's planning the complete courses. He's making his own slides, everything he's doing. So you see his word difficulty, third line from top.
His margins, right margin is covered up and the left margin is straight away.
Yeah, left margin is typically straight, and he has said it. Yeah, and right, he is not bothered about. He is so methodical. He says, okay, if I've done this so much of planning, things will go right.
पूजा 2 minutes.
What else can we see?
I can see that his handwriting and signature are somewhat the same. It's not
Yes.
very different.
His signatures, like Narendra Modi's
So-
second signature, Arun
Yes.
is very, very clear.
So whatever he
Every
shows to
alphabet
the
is there.
people is also same as whatever he is.
He would discuss his life history in the public forum with us. He has actually sometimes. Second, do you find his surname in the signature? The person who does not put in a surname, I'm sure some people of us would know, someone who is really self-made. Maybe in a bank, he would be putting the full signatures, but in a self-made man, he is writing his name. That is what he has created by himself. The hard work, the results, whatever he has got till here at this stage of his life, it is all because of him. He has not got any favoritism or any special upbringing anywhere. Everything done by him. If you saw, remember the Bhagat Singh signature, when I said that the alphabets getting connected from the lower middle zone to the upper zone, you can see some alphabets which do that. You see this word not, the second last line, but not right. You see the O bar and the T bar in NOT. O goes to the T top. The way his middle zone and the upper zone, they align. His thought process is so fast, nobody can match it. You can put it on the spotlight and he will give all the answers at one go. What other things can you find out from him, from the handwriting?
G somewhere is completing and somewhere it is G and Y, I think. Somewhere it is completing the loop and somewhere
wherever the loop is made, it is complete, it goes to the middle. So his learning, whatever he has done several years, he has learned from his failures. His G's are not incomplete. Wherever that thing, there's some other G's, there are also indicate certain, if he has thought that, okay, tonight I will finish this course material and tomorrow I will present. He will do that. He will not say, no, it is too late. Okay, who will know that whether I'm presenting or not presenting? Even if I present, how we will get to know? Nothing of that. No shortcuts. He will do it.
I have a question. I see a Z there. Somewhere I don't remember talking about a Z. And the Z is so clear, the Z-O-O. So,
Yes, the last line, Z-O-O.
Yeah, what does that indicate, the Z? so clear and straight.
Do you see a head held high?
Yeah.
Can you imagine Arun sir's also head held high?
Yeah. Okay. Got it.
Okay. Can you see the pound sign in it? The L as a pound sign?
L.
In zoo, the lower part is like an L, like a pound sign.
Yeah.
So whenever you heard of Arunji, he will always say, this is what you can earn. If it is without earning, the effort is of no use.
So the practical side is also there along with it, right? Head held high.
Yes.
And money and
you see
what
his
is
T-bars, you see his cutting, you see the T-bar going so much on the top. He is most of the time, he is giving us concepts which are perhaps sometimes he also feels, man, I have collating them together and sharing with you, you go and implement. Sometimes he would implement some, you see, sometimes he gets irritated, there is a noise. You see his T-bar sometimes goes beyond on the right side. It's never on the left, but it goes on the right side. So sometimes he loses angle, but it's always high. His enthusiasm level.
But that also shows that he thinks faster, right? His thinking
Things
is faster.
also show, you see the fluidity in his handwriting, the way he's writing very fast.
Yeah.
You see the alphabet size. The first and the last are clear, but in the middle, sometimes they waver, go up and down.
So that is sign of thinking really fast.
He thinks fast.
First paragraph, should I? The I is very different, the capital I. Should I go? No, second paragraph, sorry. Second paragraph, second last line. Should I go? I is very different. It has a loop. Oh, no, it's right on the top of the screen now, the I. It's cutting off now. Yeah, on the top. No, on the top. Yeah, on the right. Right. Where did the cursor go? Sorry.
It's okay.
Yeah, you're almost there. Yeah, you reached there. Bring your cursor.
This one?
Yeah, this I is so different.
Yeah, because he writes fast. He's written a cursive I. This is a cursive I. It is a balanced I.
It's a balanced I.
It's a balanced I. In his own thought processes, his image is important. So that is why you see some loop. That loop is also on the future side. It is not on the past side. Because he writes his I on the left side, the line is going towards the future. Okay. So he is also concerned what he would be, what his image would be in the future. Because right side is the future. It is not stress. It is his thought process that whatever I'm doing, he wants to create a legacy. He says, even if I go to US, I don't want this to stop. I want this to continue. I should be known by whatever I have taught you. So that stress of future, it's not a stress. That is a thought process of stress which is coming in his personal pronoun I.
And also risk taker.
Pardon?
Risk taker.
How did you say that?
Because if you can see the right side of the margin, so
a person who has done so much of a thorough planning,
that takes the risk, no?
Yes, his planning is so thorough, his thoughts are so clear. Who's thinking forward so much, his fluidity of mind, he is able to connect so many things well. So how much of risk is left out? He's not afraid of the future.
The T cross is normally in the center only in his case.
No, several places it is on the right side. You see the second paragraph, T is on the top, on the right. Most of the places, T is on the top or on the right.
Or on the right.
Yes. So he can flow from one concept to another, fluid, quick thinker, can't stand under solicited answers, noise, is open, transparent on outside. Difficult to understand from close quarter. If you see his handwriting nature, handwriting alphabets are even more typical than his name. Signature is the portrait personality. He cannot work under someone else's style. He, from the beginning, I think he would have worked away his own way. This is again coming from Steve Jobs. This, if you remember the Jobs J, that hook is coming in his case also. Self-esteem, the cerebral activity, and enthusiasm is something which I see in the handwriting. I'm not sure when he wrote it. For me, sometimes the energy level would perhaps have gone up and down. So here now we go to the next. So like what Akash started, detoxify yourself, recharge, be first your own role model before just setting up another model for yourself. The journey would never end. So unleash your Modi within. Thank you very much. So Dada Balaji ma'am, I'm through. I'm stopping sharing.
Arun,
Wow, amazing.
charges for enrolling and learning.
If you do that, typically these courses, if you want to, there's several courses available. But you have to be really passionate, because without practice, you will not be able to learn. It needs lots and lots of practice. If you want to get your sample analyzed in Bombay, Delhi, both places, there are several people who can analyze. But more important than analysis is, you also should ask them for analysis plus a graphotherapy. What needs to be changed step by step. It is, remember someone I went to for yoga class, and I had some rheumatoid arthritis. That person wanted me to do something called jumping jacks, which I did. For next 1.5 months, I was down. Had I gone to Tasneem, this would not have happened. But what I mean to say is, if you take something which is half-baked and some solution which is not right, then somewhere else it will show. So some rules are very clear. Meditation is good for health. Meditation is good for peace of mind. Exercising is good for health, etc., etc. But if you're doing something, there's so many parameters involved. If you change one thing and some other change happens somewhere else, because your nature is your true self, it will show somewhere else and you will not know. You will feel that it has happened, but it won't show. So you have to ensure that the person whom you go for graphotherapy gives you a good reading. And typical charges vary between 5,000 to 15,000 to 20,000 for one analysis. So if any one of you wants to take it up as a career, it is, I think, value for money, because in 2 hours you would have done the analysis and you would have got anything between 5,000 to 15,000.
No, I am asking, what are you going to charge to teachers? Are you going to teach us? Because that is what Arunji offered us, right?
So then
For this batch of
this,
DDMT.
If there are courses being prepared, then we will make courses on this. Today was because Arunji called up some time back. He says, although someone is not presenting, I said, can I present? He said, okay.
Okay, so then I'll call you up and we will decide, and we will structure a course, and then we will offer it to DDM.
Our commitment ends at 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock is over. Thank you very much.
I'll call you up.
Thank you very much.
Bye. I'll call you up. We'll
See,
talk.
you remember that zoo? I also write my zoo like Arunji. There is a pound sign which has started to come in my nature also.
My T is very, very firm. And E also is very clear. I hear.
I am also very clear.
Tasneem, your tea is very firm, but don't forget to put sugar free in it. I am a diabetic, so I take tea with sugar free.
Arunji, that is on another level. With you, it is at a different level. Even if it is without sugar free, you will handle it.
Now, let me also tell you people one thing, that this coming Sunday at 10:30, Atulji is going to be presenting, a session on problem solving in AABN, which has got 1,400 companies under them.
Wow.
So the flyer I will be sending out to all of you soon. So Atul is going to be presenting to AABN on problem solving. Am I right, Atulji?
Yes, sir. Sir, as I explained, that learner in me is very strong. When you told us that please practice your presentations, redo the presentations at least 4 or 5 times, I'm doing that. So when you asked me, I said, yes, sir, I'm ready.
Don't give credit for everything to me, Atul. That's ridiculous.
Sir, my left margin shows respect.
That will happen, Arunji. It has happened by default with all your DTMT students. So now learn to accept it with complete humility, because that is all we are going to do every now and then.
See, that is something which Atul did not speak about. See, please, let us be clear about it. Unless he speaks clearly how to develop humility, how do you expect me to do it?
I don't even
Yeah,
expect it, sir.
this is a weakness of the guru. He has not taught us that. Anyway, I will do one thing. I will take special time off and ask Atul how to develop my handwriting so that some humility will come into me.
Oh, come on.
If something comes, something will go. Let us see how we can balance it.
Sir, Arun sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So why did you say this? Radico less.
Huh?
Why did you say this? Radico less.
Ridiculous, I said. Reddy sir and Sujata ma'am have got one thing very much in common, you know. We have to put a ban on their playing around with words.
Yeah. If you give me some liberty, I will also play with some words.
Please, sir.
I would say in one word, modify your handwriting, modify your personality.
सही जगह पे तीर मार दिया जी.
And you will get all the bhagats you want.
Yeah, that's a
And
good
you
one.
will never be in dearth of a good job anywhere.
And many jobs. Online.
Yeah, many jobs.
Many jobs.
Thank you, Atul. It was fantastic. You know,
Thank you, sir.
Great.
You know, it was one of those sessions where you really helped us plow the field of our brain.
I read through all the notes, sir. I'm not giving credit to you, but the notes are really good.
But fantastic, Atul. You really did a marvelous job. And I think, you know, you should take up this very seriously and start helping people. You know, as you said, that pound was working in my mind that why the hell can't you make some money out of it by creating a consultancy?
Sure, sir.
I was about
The
to
name is
ask
going to be
Atul,
my
sir.
first line.
I was about to ask Atul sir, how much you charge?
Sir, I said Tasneem ji will be my first client. Let me see how much he pays. Sir, Nagi sir, as I said, the charges for this vary between 5,000 to 15,000. And there are people who will charge you 800, 500 rupees also. But it's like going to someone for astrology inputs, and someone will give you something very half-baked and will not perhaps even be correct. So if you want to go to a doctor, go to someone who is really good, who spends time, find out several patterns, and then gives you the feedback. These days, because several people integrate several things and say this is because you will not know, and you will tend to accept it. And
I want to ask one question.
Hanji.
The question is, you see, some people who suffer from diabetic neuropathy, their handwriting could get skewed because of that.
Yes, sir.
Does graphology take into account the variations which happen because of such conditions?
So there is an advanced course on this, that when you have got medical issues, then how do you spot those issues? So before you would have got diabetes, certain issues would have started to come in. You would have perhaps taken an action there.
So because I am a patient of diabetic neuropathy.
Sir, it shows, sir, diabetes, anything which affects your senses, because it's all driven by senses and the way your body is responding. So it shows in the handwriting. And
so is there a period after which, you know, changing one's nature or behavior becomes a bit difficult?
No, sir. Awareness makes a difference. At some stage, when you are more mature, you are even more aware that, yes, I need to change. Why do we say that a person, my grandmother used to say that a berry, there is a pear called, a creeper called berry. Jitna badi hoti hai, utna jhuk jati. Why do people, when they become senior, they mellow themselves? They are more willing to change.
So you mean to tell me I still have time to grow,
yes,
to mellow down?
Definitely. There is, as I said, if the learner in you is very strong, there is nothing, it's never late. If the learner in you has died and it becomes just like a hook, that stubbornness comes in, then it will not change. That stubbornness does not show there.
It was very interesting.
Arun sir, I have something to add here. May I?
Please, please, please.
You just mentioned about the metabolic imbalance, diabetic retinopathy.
Neuropathy.
Neuropathy. So that's a viewpoint that you are mentioning, but your envisioning is excellent graphology. You're envisioning about our future, the future of the trainers. It's an excellent graphology. I wish to compliment you like that.
Thank you.
I think teacher will make it most because they will get to see so much handwriting unless
Mr.
everything goes digital.
Mr. Rajendra, we have answer scripts where half the answer script is to the left, writing, handwriting, half is to the right. We are
So that
at the
already
Yes.
handwriting of children is seen differently. The rules for analyzing children handwriting is different, and the detoxification for children is also different.
Oh.
But such
So the
children are
same rules,
taken to
same rules do
counselors.
not apply. Same rules do not apply to children. That is separate.
Okay, okay. There is a
It's like
different
doctor for
graphology for
adults is
them.
different, and for pediatrician is different.
But such children are taken to counselors, you know, based on their handwriting
Yes.
imbalance, the style of writing.
Like if you write in Urdu, you write from left to right. It is a total different script, you know.
No, it talks about the consistency sir, in the style of writing, legibility part.
Just to let you know how seriously I was taking Atul sir, I was scribbling all the things what my writing looks like.
But as a child, there was always a belief instilled that, you know, people who do not have a legible handwriting tend to become doctors. I don't know how true this is.
Yes.
I don't mean to
Good one.
offend anyone.
Yes, yes. I have
Very
seen some
true.
doctors.
Very true.
That is
Some
correct.
doctors, when they're prescribing, it
Yes.
is separate, but when they're writing on their own, their handwritings are different. So this is something which has come in the profession.
But constantly being on the system and getting back to pen and paper, the, you know, the wrist and the fingers, they are trembling a little. I don't know, is this got to do with graphology?
No, it's a fine motors exercise.
All the time
Focus.
typing, and, you know, suddenly you take to pen and paper. There is a stark difference.
Okay, in addition to these things, maybe your hands would tire out very fast, but nothing else would happen. But these days now, in some countries, it is happening that they are shifting to print style.
Right.
And there is a lot of lobbying against that.
Right.
That cursive writing, the way we have been taught, is actually very good for our brain. But if you go to print style, then you are actually putting it like the Narendra Modi signature, then you are putting a shell over it.
Okay. On a lighter note,
yeah,
is forging a part of graphology?
Yes, it is.
Forging a signature?
Yes. I started doing forging sometime in, I think, 3 years or 4 years after learning.
Okay.
And I could really forge well.
I missed the opportunity to forge, but my handwriting is forged.
No, the reason is once my handwriting was forged, and I was immediately able to identify that the person had done forging.
Right.
It was in an office. I was handling a big project. It was a several crores of project, and somebody had me putting in fake bills. So once somebody came to me, then I told them, okay, this particular pattern is not coming up, because I know the handwriting from like a microscope. What are the components, several components? If anything goes amiss or haywire, I'm able to spot it.
Right.
See, if I know how to put up a picture like a jigsaw, I can put up a jigsaw comparatively better than the rest. But if my ethics and integrity is there, I would never use it.
Because usually
Purnima Barot has raised her hand. She has a
Yes.
query, I think. Yes,
Yes, Purnima.
Yeah, Atul sir, I would like to ask that there are therapies given by the graphologists, but not only handwriting change, but there are certain therapies for concentration, for the stress. So what do you think, how it is effective that therapies
Yeah.
are?
One very basic thing is, suppose we have to learn to write practice 8. 8 in a manner when it is run in 3 zones. That balances our upper, middle, and lower zone.
Yeah, and that also to control our BP levels, this therapy has been giving. So
Yeah.
I've seen.
So wherever the balancing has to be taught, you can practice those patterns for balancing.
Okay.
Suppose my head has a habit of that it gets clouded. Then what are the things I need to put into my handwriting and ensure that certain things are not there? Suppose my work is driven by analysis. What are the strong things in my analysis which should come out? If you see my handwriting, which has changed over several years, certain points have come out which I don't find in the books also. So these things actually evolve, but you are evolving by noticing them, by being aware, or it is just happening, you don't even know. If you're aware, then you can take it into the right direction. If you're not aware, then it may just happen. You may not even know if it is good or if it is bad. And too bad if it is bad.
Okay. Even this therapies also.
Graphotherapy, I said, you're going to a doctor or anyone, he has to know what they have to tell you. Because if they give you something very basic, but deep inside something is wrong. I went to a few months back, somebody said that you have got autoimmune problem, rheumatoid arthritis. And they said it also on the margin of thyroid problem and sugar problem. So I went to a doctor and that lady gives an AI-based oligoscan test. Based on that report, she says your chromium is very less. Since the chromium is less, you must be going for urination frequently at night. And because of this, diabetes might set in sometime. She says you be on the medication for chromium over 1.5 months, this problem will resolve. So if these patterns, if I get into the depth, I will be able to identify them with awareness, take action, the problem will be resolved. It will not happen. Same for thyroid. The allopath, I went to him after the treatment also. He said, "Aapko zarurat hi nahi thi lene ka koi treatment. Jab problem ho jayegi tab dekh lenge na." When the problem happens, it has manifested, then it is so much difficult to take care of. But if you are aware of these things in your children, in your family, in your younger siblings, in your employees, in your boss, then you will know, okay, this is the pattern they are working on. I need to work this. We are a trinity. My relationship with myself, my relationship with others, and based on these two, my thought process about my work. I'm thinking only about work, but other two things are actually driving the way I work. If my relationship with self is bad, my work output will not be good. If I'm not able to command my things, or if I'm not able to gel with others, again, my work will get affected. The first two things will get affected. You can do with awareness and graphology. Your work will improve.
Atul, you had told me that you will introduce me to that doctor, Atul. I require that help. Can you just talk to her? I tried to connect 2-3 times, but I could not.
I'll do that immediately, sir. Yeah.
Huh?
Yes, sir.
Please.
Atul, sir, the last query, is this a psychology oriented?
Yes, this is
Completely?
actually a psychology-based course. I started to learn handwriting in 1982, and there was a degree course in Germany that time. And Cambridge offers a PhD also in these subjects. And in those cases, psychology is a part of the course curriculum.
Sir, but this is not affiliated in India.
India,
The
it has started
graphology,
very late. No, it is here. It's like I said, I'll still be pursuing like a hobby. The first time I learned was, I think, sometime in 1996 from some lady called Kathy Gully Stevens online. That time the chatting had just got started online. And I sent her by courier, and on chatting, she explained me how to do analysis. Then second one I learned was from Israel, somewhere in 2009. Because in India, the teachers were not there. I still find books which are all basic. They talk about advanced, but advanced is not there. One advanced course has started. That's based in Mumbai also. They charge about 5 lakhs for this course. So I went over to them. I said, I don't need any certification, but I have lots of doubts. They said, okay, we will charge you maybe 50,000. I didn't go for that course because I went to someone who had taught me earlier. He told me how to actually progress. He said, you do more and more such a certain thing. I need to read, etc. He said, these things will come. I told him, I said, I don't want to charge this amount. He says, you give me this amount and I will charge even double the amount from my client. He said, this is the depth of analysis which is coming out. Because I know something called numerology also. I relate numerology with this. With numerology, I say, okay, this star is bad. In graphology, the answer comes out. If you do this, then maybe this can be resolved.
And so there are many variations over here in India. If you just learn from one graphology, the second one, you feel that, okay, this is something different that he is teaching. Sometimes the same alphabets are different from the different graphologists that I had seen.
Yeah.
And
so
sorry,
what,
I'm first of all, I'm very sorry.
Perfectly correct. What happens is, the way my teacher, he says, you have to practice. You have to see when you're telling the other person has to say, yes, this is actually right. Once you have verified, then you go ahead. Because whatever is taught in the books is very basic.
Yeah,
when you apply, it is not one trait. You have to correlate so many things together. Only then you will see. Just because I wrote T one style and 10 times some other style, I can't put all 10 points.
So there are more than 100 types of teas that I know. I'm sorry that actually I'm practicing graphology. I'm sorry I didn't tell you before, but I was just learning as from you. Like not known graphology, then only I can learn. And I have that hunger to learn from different people. When I saw that graphology is the subject over there, it's my subject, so I came over here to learn. But I really respect and really like to learn from you. It's really great from you to learn.
Sure.
Your experience was just an awesome. Yeah, with the help of the graphotherapy, 1-2 of my clients got the result, I could say.
Yes.
They were suffering from depression and all that. I gave them the connected S-Wala therapy and many 2 to 3 things, and they got a result within 15 days. So it's really effective.
See, if you're doing with awareness, the change will anyway happen.
Yeah, that's true.
With awareness, it is much faster. And if you add in some extra traits for the determination, etc., then it will further add. It's like you're giving an antibiotic, but you're also giving some sort of a probiotic, something else which adds to strength, some vitamins, etc. If you just give something for the cure, but nothing else to sustain, this will fail. So when you're giving a very balanced input for graphotherapy, it makes a difference.
Exactly, sir. And it really makes difference.
Yes, yes. Good, Purnima.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir.
Sujata Balaji, any other questions, ma'am?
Request the audience, could we close the session or further queries?
Yeah, because the daily huddle will start at 8:30.
Thank you, Mr. Atul. This has been an ocean of lexicology and graphology, which are the greatest challenges to human communication. And I said immeasurable light thrown on this topic, and it's a great takeaway for us this evening. Thank you so much for taking the time out for a cult topic, not a regular topic. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. And before closing, let me make a small announcement. A group of 195 senior executives of the pharma industry requested me yesterday to explain to them how exactly cognitive science and implicit learning is applied on Diploma the Master Trainer. So on 26th evening, I am giving a presentation to them on this about the various techniques of implicit learning that we are driving in our program. So all those of you who are in Diploma the Master Trainer, if you are interested, not that you don't know, you already have done it. If you are interested, I will send you the link, you can join that. Those who are not on Diploma the Master Trainer, the same program is going to be conducted on Sunday at 2 o'clock. It's a workshop where there will be a hands-on, you will be driving one such technique to understand it. So you can register and join on Sunday, those who are not on Diploma the Master Trainer, and for all Diploma the Master Trainer people, if you are interested, you can join the program on Saturday evening at 7 o'clock. Okay. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you.
And
Thank you,
all of you
Atul,
remember Sunday 10:30, Atul Ji is presenting to AABM.
1 hour, 1 hour, 2 hours. How much time?
Which one?
That Sunday program for Atul Ji is for how much?
Atul Ji is for 1.5 hours, 10:30 to 12.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Good night.